here to do a review for Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. So I read Scythe and Thunderhead back to back, and I made my review for Scythe, and I'm here to do my review for Thunderhead. And of course, when I read The Toll, when it comes out in November, I will be doing another review. These books have really just taken me by surprise. They're so good. This second one's been amazing as well. Like, it is getting so intense. I don't know how to feel about things anymore. And I highly recommend this trilogy, and you should definitely read the books that are out so far, but I'm kind of thinking you might want to wait until November, because then you won't have to wait, because they keep ending on cliffhangers and I'm dying, and this review is going to have spoilers in it. So if you haven't read this book, I suggest not watching any further in this review, and I'm excited to talk about things. I feel this book definitely had a lot more reveals than the first one, because only one of the reveals from the first book actually shocked me. The rest of it I kind of saw coming, but this book, a lot of shit was happening that I was like, what is going on? So in this book, it's been nearly a year since we last saw Citra and Rowan, and they're in very different places in this book. They hardly ever come into contact. It's only twice that we actually see them together, so it's a bit sad not seeing them together, because I kind of really want them to get together. Even though this is like a no romance kind of book, I still ship it. See, I can't really read books without romance if I ship things. This is why reading this Savage song was so hard, because I'm like, I kind of ship it. I shouldn't, but I kind of ship it. I'm hoping that in The Toll they will just come to be in love. Like, they're obviously in love, they just haven't gotten together, and the main point of this book isn't romance. But anyway, with Citra, she has fully become a Scythe, and she's been gleaning people, and she does it in a very different way, because she gives all of her victims a month's notice so that they can say goodbye to their families and get their affairs in order, and just to get everything sorted so they can pay off everything and they can give all their money to their families and just set everything up. And then she lets them choose how they want to be gleaned, and she comes back in a month, and it seems to be working pretty well because the victims really like to have the notice, but the Scythedom is just like, what the fuck are you doing? They don't think it's humane to do it this way, even though, like, really, I think it's actually a great idea, because the people don't mind, and they like to know when it's going to happen. They like to be able to get everything sorted, know when it's happening, and just be able to have it happen how they want it to. And I really do like the fact that Citra is bringing in new ideas, even though she's very much part of the old order and she wants things to stay the same, and only killing 260 people, and not going on mass killing sprees, but everyone is kind of like, hey, even though Scythe Curry is like so for it, like, she's so nice, like, they'll go out gleaning together, so she gleans and Citra's like, here you go, you got a month. But their friendship is so solid too. They're so adorable, and I love how they've just come to depend on each other in every single situation, and I love it. And seriously, by the end of the book, Citra was making so much noise in the Scythedom, and she was just getting her battle armor on. I think she is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I feel that, like, you know, in 100 years, hopefully everything is sorted and everything is dealt with, and she's going to be like one of the key players in the Scythedom, and she's going to just get everything going. And then we come to Rowan, and he has gone like fully off the grid, but he has been going around killing corrupt Scythes. He's gone off to kill all the ones that have got bias, killing all the ones that kill too many people, and he's doing it. He shouldn't be though, because it's murder, and he's making sure that he burns them so they can't be revived. And he's going around disguised Lucifer, and he's wearing a black robe, and he's got a ring and everything, but he is really trying to clean up the mess of the Scythedom. I really applaud him for it, but it's sad that everyone's like, it's murder, and I'm like, bitch, you all kill people. Like, you call it gleaning, but it's all killing. So getting rid of the Scythes that never should have been made Scythes, and I don't even know how the system allowed them to be a part of this, is a good thing. But Rowan goes through so much shit. Like, he gets captured and beaten up so many times in this book, and I feel so bad for him. He just has all the short straws when Citra's like a goddess, and he's just being pummeled all the time. And we also get introduced to Grace and Tolliver in this book, and I actually hate it when we get new POVs introduced of characters that we've never heard of, never seen before, we don't know them, and then when something meant to get thrust into their story and be invested in them, when I'm like, I'm invested in Rowan and Citra, who is this Grayson person? And it happens in every book that does this. This is why we all hated Manon at first, because it was all about Aelin, and then suddenly this Manon bitch turns up, and it's like, who are you? I don't know you. Why is there some weird witch bitch going on in the scene? You know, and I hate it too, because even though, like, their storylines are always really important, I still hate this, because I just want the characters to be characters, because then you know shit is gonna link up somewhere, and it's just so stressful trying to think of what's gonna happen. So like, at least with Grayson, like, it was hard to get invested in his story at first, but he was very easy to follow. Like, a lot of the time when they introduce a character, it's very confusing until it makes sense. He made sense a lot earlier, which I was thankful for. But he's got this really strong connection with the Thunderhead, and the Thunderhead's like practically raised him and like been like his best friend, and the Thunderhead uses him to help Citra and the Skypes, but because he used him, Grayson becomes unsavory, which means the Thunderhead doesn't talk to you, and you've got this taint on you, and everyone's always like, yeah, at you. So you don't want to be unsavory because it is the worst thing ever. But then he becomes this guy named Slade, and he's like in the criminal underworld, and he's trying to figure out plots against the Skyfdom, and he meets a girl there, and like he all becomes all evil. And then he gets moved to a Tonist cult when Citra puts him in there to save him, and then he's in this cult and he's still unsavory, and he just has all this bad shit happen to him because he just wanted to be an agent and help protect people, and now he's just living this life that he's just like, why is everything like this? And Grayson, I feel, is going to be so important in the next book. It really did set up his character pretty well in this book, and he went through a lot of stuff, and he really helped out so much because Citra would have died so many times if he didn't help. And we really got to understand a lot more of the world through Grayson's eyes, because learning about being unsavory and learning about how there's different places like Texas where everything is off the grid and people just lose their shit, and just like, we learned a lot in Scythe about the world, but there is even so much more in this book now that we know from his perspective. But there's also a lot more about the Skyfdom that we discover. So this book really elaborated on a lot of details. In the first book we would have been like, oh, I don't really understand why that's happening, and now it's like, oh, I understand now. And we also got to understand the Thunderhead so much more in this book. So in the first book we had little chapters where we had snippets from different Skyfe's journals, because they all have to write in a journal every day. But in this book we got snippets of the Thunderhead explaining different things to us and also its feelings, and I'm just like, yeah, like, it cares so deeply about humanity and also about making sure humanity has free will in the most important of situations. And it just, because it's so vast and big, it can focus on so many different people at the same time, and it just wants to make sure everyone's okay and just keep the world running, and it is beautiful. And it makes me so happy how invested it is in the Skyfdom, even though it's not allowed to have anything to do with it. Even though the Thunderhead can't like really help, it just wants to protect the Skyfes, and it does anything it can to help without actually helping. And I feel that now the Thunderhead has completely lost its shit. We're gonna get so much more emotion from it, and I feel like we're gonna have a different AI in the third book, because with everything that happened at the end of the book with everyone dying, the Thunderhead just like, its brain exploded, and then it's turned everyone unsavory, and it's turned its back on everyone. And then like at the end when it's like, Grayson, I'm happy to talk to you, and I'm like, ah, what's gonna happen? Like, the Thunderhead, I don't know how it's gonna come back from this, but I can't wait. And now the grossest and scariest thing that happened in this book is Goddard was brought back. He was brought back. So Skyfe Rand managed to survive the fire, and she dragged herself away, brought Goddard's head with her, and she'd been hiding in Texas because she's allowed to hide there without anyone knowing she's there. And then she gets Rowan's best friend Tiger, and she brings him in and starts training him. And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't really know what's going on here. Like, okay, she's kind of got his friend, don't know where this is going. Then she captures Rowan. Rowan and Tiger are like training and learning, and he's trapped there. And then some weird shit starts happening, and Rowan's just there, and Tiger comes in to talk to him, and he's talking, and then he turns around and Goddard's face is on his body. Like, they put his whole head on there, and because like his vocal cords were damaged, he's talking in Tiger's voice, but like they attached him to a new body and he's still alive, and I was just horrified. Like, I seriously did not think he was gonna come back. Like, he chopped his face off and burnt him. How the hell was that gonna like, I was waiting for some bigger villain, but no, it's Goddard again. It's too much. And now Highblade Xenocrats, or whatever his name gets promoted to be on the World Council of the Skyfes, so someone has to take his job position, and Goddard just goes boom into the bloody room, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna go for this job. So then Skyfe Curry has to go for the job too. We have to have a battle between Old Guard and New Order, because and I was so on edge, because I'm like, they're gonna pick Goddard because obviously they all want to kill everyone. That's what's happening happening to the Skyfdom now. And then Citra's just like, yo, wait, he can't be the new leader if he doesn't have the body of a Scythe. And because they have this big battle about morality of it, they have to go to Endura, which is like the home world and the capital of the Scythes and where all the World Council leaders are. So we all go there and it's like this floating platform in the middle of the ocean and you gotta like fly there. And so they have this big battle and Citra's just like talking it up, being like, you know, how can he be a Scythe when only 10% of his body is actually his own body and he never trained to be a Scythe in this body and all this shit. And then the World Council is like listening to it and the Goddard's just like, what are you on about? And there's this whole battle and I'm freaking out the whole time because I'm like, no, he can't win. He cannot possibly win. But then the council's just like, nah, mate, you got to do another year of apprenticing as a Scythe before your body's ready. And Scythe Curry wins. Anyway, we find out that the vote was unanimously towards Scythe Curry anyway. And then Goddard's just like, well, you dumbasses. And then the whole place blows up. The whole time I didn't expect this to happen, but there were so many snippets, like when he got all the engineers to come over for a visit and he got them to go to Endura, and slowly they started to like make sure everything broke. So by the time that the council and all this was happening, so the whole thing started sinking and then stuff started exploding and then all the World Council members died. All the Scythes died, all their family of the Scythes died, and now Goddard's left, and no one knows how this vote went, so obviously he's gonna be all like, I won, and there was like this accident. So now there is no authority in the Scythedom but Goddard. And I was so sad because with Scythe Curry, like there was all these survivors and she started bleeding them so they wouldn't drown in the cold water or be eaten by like sharks and stuff. And like all the Scythes left there, like all the good ones left there are leading people, making it a mercy killing. Then they all kill themselves and I'm like, Scythe, like I love Curry. She was like the best character. Like she was such a good role model and I loved her. And because Rowan was brought there because Scythe got up was going to be like, boom, look who I've got. Rowan and Citra are there and they're just like, well shit, and they go into this like chamber where all the original robes of the original Scythes were, and Scythe Curry locks them in there. So now that they're going to be preserved in this big ass metal contraption, and once it sinks to the bottom of the ocean, no water's going to get in, but they're going to die from the cold. So they're finally together and they're locked in this thing and they're going to sink to the bottom of the ocean, and I don't know how long they're going to be down there. Someone needs to find them and then revive them, and then they can go and get rid of Goddard, because I am panicking. Like I was so on edge because I am not sure how this is going to happen. And like, does the Thunderhead know, but then it's turned its back on everyone? And like, will it tell Grayson? And I'm pretty sure in the synopsis for the next book it's already been 3 years, and I'm like, they're still down the bottom. What? Like, I am not okay. This was such an intense ending. And something to add in too is we also got introduced to Manuria. I think that's how you say her name, Manuria. And she was an apprentice Scythe that didn't get accepted. And Scythe Faraday has been searching for this place that no one thinks is real, that has like this fail-safe for the Scythedom or something, or just some really important information that was hidden by the original Scythes. And he's at this library. I've been filming like way too much because my camera decided to cut out, but where was I at? Manuria? I keep feeling like I'm saying manure and I'm like, that's not your name. But there's this fail-safe thing going on. Like I can't exactly remember, but I'm pretty sure it's a fail-safe. If that's wrong, let me know. Anyway, they have recreated like the Library of Alexandria and they've got all the original Scythes notebooks, and she's been helping me search for it. So throughout the book, we've had chapters with those guys searching for this, and then they find this thing with like flight patterns where there's this one space on the map that planes don't go over, so they think that's the secret place. And the Thunderhead's like, excuse me, what? Like, how is this thing I don't know about? And it kind of loses his mind a little bit because he's like, how did humanity hide this from me? But I definitely think they're gonna come to the rescue with something, okay? Because I am worried because they seem to be the only hope, and Grayson is the only hope because Citra and Rowan are locked down the bottom of the ocean. I just can't get over that. Why are they down the bottom of the ocean? Like, this book was so good, and like, this is such a big book, but they're so easy to read. Like, you just need to know what's gonna happen, and I'm so sad that I didn't wait until November when the toll came out. I'm actually going to be getting on the plane for Hong Kong the day this book comes out, so I won't be reading it until I get back from my trip, so I've got to buy it. So I don't know if it's going to be like a pre-order situation here, or will I wait until I get back? I don't know. I'm going overseas when 4 of my anticipated reads are coming out. The month and a half that I have to wait, like, I'm very excited about my trip, and now it's like, I've got to wait for this too? Oh my god. But yes, this book was amazing, and I just need the next one so badly. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for this review. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!